Hi everyone, I've got a sleeping baby downstairs, so I'm going to have to do this in a kind of whispery, low-level voice, kind of ASMR-y, you know that creepy whisper thing they do, but I hope this doesn't come across too creepy. But on with the show here. So this is Alireza Firouzja against Ian Nepomniachtchi. It's the Blitz chess just played in Croatia. Now it's day 2 of the Blitz, the Sunday. Alireza's got black here. Let's have a look what happened. So he kicks off with e4, Nepo that is. Alireza goes e5. Now we had knight f3, knight c6, and bishop c4, the Italian game. Alireza goes knight f6. So he invites the old fried liver. We see a lot at this at the amateur level of chess, even at top level too. And by the way, this is the key move here. And then there's a very fun gambit line, by the way, with pawn b5. I'll have to cover a game of that sometime. The top game here in the Lee Chess database is Magnus Carlsen winning with this line against Arkady Neidich. Anyway, I digress. We didn't have knight g5. Now here we had pawn to d3. Alireza goes bishop c5, castles, pawn d6, and now Jan just goes for c3 here. Again, as a side note on opening theory, if they go bishop g5, might look really scary, but you can actually start kicking it like this, and who's really attacking who. You can even do this stuff with black when you've castled the king. Anyway, no bishop g5, pawn c3 instead. Now we had castles, rook e1, a5 from Alireza, very standard idea for both players. You gain some space, you potentially activate the rook, you give the bishop room, all that kind of good prophylaxis stuff. Now pawn h3 takes this square, again a common idea. We'll see Alireza do the same soon. Bishop a7 tucks back, and now knight a3. And they say when you're learning chess, you know, don't put a knight on the rim. A knight on the rim is dim or grim, however you want to say it. But from here, it's got a plan to either come to c2 and support bishop e3, or to b5, which we see in the game. So knight e7 now from Alireza. Again, a common idea in this structure. He's swinging to g6 and also clears the way for the c pawn here, which can then support d5 later. And here Jan goes knight b5, not technically the best move. The computer likes d4 here. I mean, the knight's just left that square. And okay, then knight g6 could come, say bishop e3, c6, game goes on here. But we didn't have that one, we didn't have d4, knight b5 was played, hits this bishop, and Alireza wants to preserve it. And again, I find it interesting. You can go, say, bishop to b8 here, top engine move, but then after d4, c6, well, in a line like this, the queens could come off the board here. We're losing queens, we're losing pieces. And the more Alireza stuff I analyse, you know, something like this, the more I realise he just loves keeping pieces on the board in blitz, rapid and classical. He loves that tension. He backs himself to kind of outfox opponents. So he comes to b6 here with the bishop. Jan goes d4, and then he takes on d4. Again, he can go knight g6, let the queens come off if Jan wants it, but he takes. Not necessarily best, because now white could set up this big centre here. But Jan wants to kind of keep it in balance too, a bit of a fighting game. He takes with this knight. Also makes some sense because it could be getting kicked later with c6, and now it's found a nice central home. Alireza goes knight g6. Now bishop to b3. Again, a kind of prophylaxis move. You come away from any kind of d5 tricks later on, picking up a tempo. Sometimes you tuck back here, protect the pawn. If the pawn ever moved forward or took on d5, well then the bishop opens up. So really common idea in these structures. Pawn h6 from Alireza. Queen to c2. Nepo just carries on developing, adds pressure to this pawn, a protection even. Wants to free up the bishop, connect his rooks, complete the development. Knight e5 from Alireza, good move. You don't want to be taking here. Give black some space in the centre, kick this knight, and also this is not an ideal structure for white with the pawn on f5, because long term it's going to blunt this bishop if it ever comes back here, blunts the queen, and the knight now sits rock solid, e4 could come, etc. We'll see some ideas of that later in the game, which is why I mention. So instead bishop f4 was played developing. Now we had rook e8, protects that knight. This rook came to the centre, and so Alireza goes bishop d7, covers the file from his queen, develops that minor piece, and now a4 from Jan, good move. And this is the nice thing for Jan in this position. He's got the space. He's got the pawn on the 4th rank. Black's is only on the 3rd rank. So his pieces have more room to maneuver. Black's the one that's either got to initiate trades here or look for a pawn break. And so that's exactly what Alireza does. He goes queen to c8 here, a dual purpose move. So yes, it looks at these very crude tactics of sacking here, but it also supports c5, and then c4 could come to blunt out this bishop. This is the threat, and this is what Jan misses to play against here. So Jan tucks back this bishop here, but his best move was knight to d2, and you suspect he would find this in a classical game. Now what's the big idea? Well, now if you go c5, the bishop could take here. We saw this in the game. Pawn recaptures, and then you can hop into b5 here, looking at the d6 square. And the key thing is you can't push pawn c4 here, or the knight simply snaps that one off. So you'd have to take here, pawn takes, and white's just positionally better. The knight's coming to c4, nice open control of the d-file, good game. So Alireza wouldn't have necessarily gone c5 if we'd seen knight d2, but that's the idea of knight d2. But instead bishop h2 was played, and Alireza pounces, pawn c5. Yes, you weaken this one, but it's justified in this position. Now you can't hop the knight away anywhere with a good game, because then black's taking on here with check, ruining the structure, no good. So that's why we had this one eliminated first, the pawn recaptured, and now this knight comes to f5, because if it comes to b5, well, now we've got the c4 stuff. Even if you land knight d6, well, this is no good, because we're taking here and we're on the queen and the rook. Better game for black, no good. So that's why we had knight to f5 here. The bishop captures, pawn takes back, and pawn c4. Blunts out this bishop, then pawn e4. So Alireza's taken over the initiative here in just a few moves. Really, really classic play. And already Nepo feels the squeeze here, feels he has to do something special. Now, the best computer move here is king to h1. And I think the reason Nepo didn't play like this is, say you can go queen c5 here, rook e2, hold this one, rook e to d8, challenge the d-file. I mean, black's just got the pressure, this bishop's blocked out, these two pawns are a pain, and they can just slowly press on the position. Maybe this will drop at the right moment if you can defend this one, or you just trade off those pawns for each other, keep the kingside attack. So Nepo just doesn't want to sit there and suffer in a blitz game. So after e4, he goes rook d6, and this is his big idea. So not only does he attack this one, but also the knight. And so after bishop to c5, you guessed it, bang. He takes on f6, sacks the exchange. He wants to attack the king, rip things open, and this is his follow-up, rook takes on e4. But there's no doubt that what he missed from afar is Alireza's next move. So if you want to pause and look for the move that Alireza played here, which is completely crushing, then please do so. So the move Alireza plays is queen takes on f5. Might look simple, but then if you sort of go deeper on it, you might think, hang on, you can't do that, because takes with check, rook recaptures, you lose your queen. But here's the sting at the end of the tail, which no doubt Nepo missed, is now you're running into checkmate in 1 because of the unfortunate placement of this bishop on h2. So when Nepo got here, he must have thought, ah, crap, after Alireza takes, I can't actually do this stuff, and he's just absolutely busted. I mean, you can't go f3 to protect the rook. Say you protect it like this, well, now you can actually take anyway. Queen recaptures, bishop takes, rook e8, and still you've got a problem. No f3 due to the bishop, and if the bishop moves here, well, then you still get mated. You know, you'd have to go bishop e5 or something. So just none of it works at all. Nepo's completely busted in this position here. So he goes bishop e5 just to block the e-file, give the king some room. But of course, this is hopeless. Alireza takes, rook g4 check, king f8, queen c1, looking for something desperate here. But Alireza now takes on f2. I mean, the queen just left the protection of the pawn, right? Nepo would have seen this, but he's just going for tricks. It's blitz. Now we had king h2, and rook g5 was the final move of the game. I mean, Alireza's a complete whole rook up here. The position's just completely lost. Nepo resigned. So I hope you enjoyed this game. To see another classic Alireza game, click here, and do subscribe to the channel to never miss a future video. Thanks for watching, see you soon.